President Nana Akufo-Addo has delivered his last State of the Nation address ahead of general elections in December. Now, during his speech, Akufo-Addo attributed the boost in Ghana's economy over the last 3 years to the banking sector and financial reforms. The president is promising a better economy if he's retained in power for the next 4 years. He also says he's working to resolve Nigeria's land border closure, which of course has hit many businesses in Ghana. In the meantime, Akufo-Addo's 2020 State of the Nation address saw opposition lawmakers walking out of parliament. The MPs were protesting his style of governance amid accusations he has eroded the country's democracy.
Our economic growth has rebounded to place Ghana among the fastest growing economies in the world for 3 years in a row at an annual average of 7% GDP growth, up from 3.4% in 2016, the lowest in nearly 3 decades. The international investor community has recognized this development, resulting in Ghana today being the largest recipient of foreign direct investment in West Africa. The sovereign credit ratings agencies have upgraded our ratings and also improved the outlook for this year, notwithstanding the fact that it is an election year. This is a massive vote of confidence in the current management of the economy.
Well, let's get the details on today's State of the Nation address. We're joined by Nabil Ahmed Rufai. He joins us now in Accra. Nabil, great to have you on the show. Now, of course, Akufo-Addo has been quite strong on the economy. Oil output is up. Inflation has slowed in the country. And of course, the CD is one of the best performing currencies amongst emerging markets. But still, some in Ghana feel that growth hasn't translated into better living conditions for most Ghanaians. So what are some of the key issues on the table and how did he address them in his address today?
Uche, one of the key issues that have been bothering a lot of businessmen here in Ghana has to do with the closure of the land border between Nigeria and Benin. And this the president indeed mentioned in his delivery during the State of the Nation address. He says he's also equally concerned about the land border closure, and businesses have lost millions of dollars as their goods remain stranded at the border and they're not able to do business between Ghana and Nigeria as a result of the land border closure. He actually said one of the things he's doing to really resolve the situation is by being in talks with authorities within the ECOWAS economic communities of West African states to see how best they can resolve this situation as soon as possible. We know Nigeria closed its border over 5 months ago, and businesses here in Ghana are really being affected by this. Another issue that was key during his delivery of the State of the Nation address has to do with illegal mining, which has been on the front burner in discussions here in Ghana within the past few weeks. A lot of water bodies have been destroyed as a result of illegal mining in some parts of the country. Also, the environment has been destroyed. Those engaged in the illegal mining have not done anything in terms of reclamation of their land. And although the government has been fighting illegal mining since it came into power in 2016, it appeared that the fight against this illegal mining has not really been successful. And the government actually when the president made his presentation, said this has come to his attention and he wants to assure the nation that he's indeed still going to fight illegal mining in the country in order to protect the environment and also water bodies, which people who are even farming in the, those areas are not able to farm as a result of the pollution caused by the illegal mining. And lastly, one other thing that he also mentioned, which was key to his delivery, was the fact that the coronavirus outbreak in China, you know, this week we saw some parents of students studying in China, especially in Wuhan, the epicenter of the virus, calling on the president to evacuate their children from Wuhan. The president says indeed he sympathizes with the parents of the children who are studying in China. We know a lot of students from Ghana are studying in China through scholarships, and for now, evacuating them is not an option the government is considering because it's going through a strict protocol by the World Health Organization, which says there shouldn't be any evacuation for now. But then the government says it would really consider this if it should become very, very necessary. So these are the three key things that came to the fore when the president made his presentation in Parliament. Issue about the Nigeria border closure, one about the coronavirus, and also the illegal mining going on in the country, Uche.
Well, Nabil, with regards to the country's economy, we know Ghana's debt position has deteriorated under Akufo-Addo. Debt now stands at about 63% of GDP as at the end of 2019. That's compared to 59% in January 2019. So what's his plan to address Ghana's debt position?
Well, Uche, the government has always argued that the debt that it has accrued over the period is for a good cause, is towards improving the economy. So the citizens should not be worried about the accumulated debt it has gotten so far. But then it's also made mention that the government has put in place what it calls a debt management strategy to really tackle its debt, and one of the key things is going to take these long-term bonds, and it's evident with the €3 billion bond that the government has been able to secure. This bond will also help the government service its part of its debt. Also, another thing that the government is looking at doing to reducing its debt is by diversifying investor base and engaging local investors to take up part of the financial sector in order to strengthen economic growth in the country. So the government indeed agrees that the debt has ballooned since it came to power, but it says it's working to really reduce it.
Now, one of Akufo-Addo's wins in the past 3 years was the cleanup of the country's banking sector. That costs the government about $3 billion. Now, how does he plan to approach the issue of depositors' funds, which are still locked up with some financial institutions in the country?
Indeed, Uche, the president made mention about this $3 billion that has really gone into the financial cleanup. He made mention that about another $1 billion is going to be used to pay these depositors whose money got locked up during the cleanup exercise. But he also said those who were responsible for the situation by the collapse of the banks, managers of these banks are going to face the law. Some of them are being sent to court, and some of their assets will be retrieved to be used in making these payments to the depositors. So the government says it's really working to really resolve this situation by the time it ends its tenure in December, and has assured the depositors that they are going to receive 100% of their money after going through a validation process successfully to be able to really get the fact that their money were locked up and then they deserve to be paid. So the government says it's actually doing all this to ensure that the country does not face such a situation in the future.
Well, as always, many thanks, Nabil, for your insights. That's Nabil Ahmed Rufai joining us there in Accra.